parts would annoy me. So bear with me.
So Amy, can you share with us your thoughts about this film? I mean, so you've seen lots of interpretations of your friend over the years. What distinguishes this one?
I thought this was a Q&A.
That was a Q. Now it's time for your A.
Well, I'm not there. They're the ones that should be.
Oh, we'll go to that. But I get my turn too.
He's the boss.
Oh, sorry. I thought he was just an attractive guy hanging around.
That's it.
Anyway, what can I tell you? She was fine. She never gave me any grief. It was really two 25-year-old ladies getting to know each other. We brought her always into our life. The one time we went into her life was when all of a sudden I decided I wanted to see Frank Sinatra at the Copacabana and we couldn't get in. She got us in. Everybody says, oh, well, she was around in your house and around. Never gave me any grief. I intimidated her, she said. And I said, fine, everybody should be afraid of somebody. So I am your shadow and I will be watching you. And she was great sense of humor. Nobody knows this about her. Oh, well, I'll tell you, may I tell you a story? This is like, anyway. We had big dinner parties every Saturday and Sunday night. I'm talking about 15, 16 people around this huge, long wooden table that Milton built with his own hands. And someone had just come from a funeral and was very sad. And so each person, I said, well, let's each person say how they wanted to be remembered when they pass into the great unknown. And everybody did. And it got to Marilyn, she got up and she said, I know just what I want. I want Frank Sinatra and Ella Fitzgerald and Basie blaring in the background. And on my tombstone, I want MM. 36, 24, 36.
Liz, I'm going to ask you a question, then I am going to go to the audience for questions. Can you talk about reaching out to people to get them to participate in this film, both people who knew Marilyn and the other people that you enlisted?
The reaching out to the actors, I think, is a similar process in any independent film, where you reach out to people, and once it sparks to one actor, then other people sort of feel more comfortable about coming on board. And it was really a lot of the, we got a lot of support from people's agents and managers because they looked at the documents and they thought that the words, that the writing was good and that it would appeal to their clients to come in and read good words. So we sort of built, Ellen Burstyn, Ellen Burstyn was one of the first people to join, and she's so wonderful and respected that her energy and commitment helped us build out our cast. And then other folks, Amy Greene. There is Marilyn Monroe is a divisive. She's not a divisive person, but people are divided in her posthumously, and there's a lot of suspicion. What are you going to say about her? How are you going to paint her? And so there is, a trust-building process that has to happen in order to have people feel comfortable talking to you, and that's the case in most documentaries.
All right, Amy wants some questions. Who's got one? Raise your hand, and I will call on you. Look, they're all intimidated by you, Amy. There's one up in the balcony. How'd you arrive at the title?
The title, yeah, we had lots of titles that we thought about. One of them was MM. We thought about MM, but at the end of the day, you bat things around, and Love Marilyn just felt like the most appropriate, the warmest, the most appropriate to reference the fact that it was coming out of all these documents. So it won.
Yeah, right here. Question is asking for speculation. If Marilyn hadn't died, where do you think her life would have gone?
With the first wrinkle, she would have been very upset. She used to use a pound of a cream called, the company was Germain Montet, I don't even know if it's still around. And at that time, it cost $20, which was very expensive for the early 50s. And she would slather it all over because she never wanted to have any wrinkles and she never wanted to get old. She was afraid of being old. So I don't know where, since her personal life, which she always picked the wrong guy, I don't know if that would have, I think she would have been an unhappy old lady. That's just me.
Question down here.
Amy, I was just wondering, having known her and all the movies that have been made about her,
I'll repeat the question.
were you ready for another Marilyn film? And how do you feel about all the others that have been made and having another one come out?
The question was with so many Marilyn films having been made, were you ready for another one? Or what made you interested to participate in another one?
I'll be very honest with you. This lovely lady here has a lovely father who helped my lovely son a long time ago. And when she told me her name, I said, wait a minute, I know that name from somewhere. Who was it? And it turned out that her father helped my son when he needed help. So I said to Liz, you got me. It's it's a swap.
It's called karma.
Question up there in the white.
I was just really surprised at what a wonderful writer she was, and just phenomenal inner dialogue. I'm wondering if her letters
Question is, are there any plans to have those writings published?
Many of the writings that we used in the film are published now in a book called Fragments, Marilyn Monroe,
Which is lovely.
Yeah, and so if you want to read those documents, you can get Fragments, Marilyn Monroe. You can get it on your Kindle, or you can get it at a bookstore, and it has beautiful photographs and also the documents. There's some other documents that are not in that book that are in the film, but there's a bunch of them in there.
And it's a lovely book.
Question right here.
Amy, what was your last conversation with Marilyn?
The question was to Amy, what was your last conversation with Marilyn?
Okay. I should be saying what I'm about to say. I had a dream about her. And I woke up and I said to Milton, call Marilyn, she needs your help. And he said, oh, come on, I have to go to Paris in 3 days. We were doing the collection, French collections, the couture. And I don't have the time. I said, just do what I tell you to do. Call the lady. And he did. And they spoke for 3 hours. And then she called the house again the next day, and I spoke to her, and I told her what we were doing. And the plan was that when Milton finished the collection, he would fly over the pole to Los Angeles, and I would come to New York, and they would be together in California. And that was the last conversation I had with her. Hugs and kisses, end of conversation.
Question down here.
I thought that the film ended on a very hopeful and positive note for Marilyn, but then it also said Marilyn Monroe dies suicide. I know there was speculation. I'm just wondering, it's for Amy, what you thought. Do you think that it was accidental or on purpose?
Question was about Marilyn's death, if you have your own feeling whether it was accidental or on purpose.
Milton and I always knew in our hearts it was an accident. That was it. She took one too many.
Question question was if you had any second thoughts about using personal text.
No, I felt that these texts were the texts that showed Marilyn as a fully dimensional human being, and I think given the way she has lived on as a sort of icon of sexuality and femininity, that they were very relevant to dimensionalize this person and make her feel like a real human being. So I felt comfortable that Marilyn would not object to this representation of her.
Unfortunately, we need to wrap up for our next film, but you're one of the first audiences to see this film. You can vote for it by taking your ticket and putting it in the box outside. Please write about it. Thank you all for coming, and especially to Liz, Garbus, and Amy Greene.